loads of fun, mate.
Thanks. The circumstances aren't important because, I was so far from knowing them myself. What I knew is that I existed and I was uncomfortable. But I didn't know where I was or who I was. I didn't know the voices who called me their son. Records show that I was in a coma for a month. Unlike the movie fantasies, there is no brilliant wake-up moment with me asking, "Oh, where am I?" For a time, I couldn't walk, couldn't speak or move. When you forget everything about your life, you get to hear the best of who you were. People told me I enjoyed going to Glastonbury with friends I couldn't remember. I lived on a canal boat to save money as a student. And that I have a brother and sister who joined me for this meal a week before the accident. A few months before the accident was a 2010 volcanic eruption in Iceland. This disrupted thousands of flights, including mine. It stopped me flying back to England to do the half marathon. It's possible to be kind of intimidated by the person you were. But I decided to become that person again from this hospital patient. I would fight to become the man they call Ben again. I would complete the half marathon. So, how bad was it? Well, there were no broken bones. The impact caused me to have the most devastating type of traumatic brain injury, an eruption of damage that disconnects different parts of your brain. In this case, regaining consciousness is not a given. Even if I did, the expectation was that I'd be significantly impaired for the rest of my life. A few years after the accident, a researcher began showing my brain scans at medical conferences. He then asked doctors to predict my recovery, and they'd shake their heads, and they say he wouldn't walk, talk, or learn again. They didn't think I'd become an author, have a second master's degree, and be ready to work again. But life was different. Life was no longer about strolling down a brightly lit road with great music, friends having a good time, and good Wi-Fi, where you feel happy and open to new experiences. It became a dark street, one destroyed and deserted, except figures who shift along the edges. Strange sounds, phone dead. People look at you funny and you think, Who am I? Traffic accidents are sudden, like earthquakes. They take what they take, and we deal with what's left. When I've been interviewed about my story, people will say, "My God, you had to deal with all of this, and the fact the accident took your girlfriend's life?" No, I couldn't remember her. There were no memories to recall. The doctor said I might never remember her. So after fighting to be myself again for 2 years and completing the Brighton Half Marathon, I could remember her tattoos and her Canadian accent. It wasn't a moment of sadness. It was one of the happiest moments of my recovery. It showed I was getting better. My brain was working. And I'm so happy to have her in my head again. We worked in international development and were in the Haiti region for the aid recovery after the earthquake of 2010. Walking back to our room after a meal in the neighboring Dominican Republic, a speeding car lost control and left the road. Basically, when the car hit, this is my brain. It's very big, I know. And with the accident, it got completely scrunched up and can't go back to how it was. So because of my accident, my short-term memory has been a problem, but has massively improved. And there are certain mechanisms like this that I can use to counteract those problems. I also have a tremor in my right arm, but it is controlled. However, my handwriting is severely affected. And my voice is different. So now I sound like this. However, the old Ben would never have stood on a stage like this to speak to you all. So, seeing as the fact that I'm actually doing this, I want to reach out to everybody and every person whose life has ever been hit by a disaster, natural or man-made. In your fight to be yourself again, paperwork, tick boxes, and risk assessments will get in your way. Organisations that try and help need checks and balances, yeah, but when we have to fight their processes as much as we're fighting to get our lives back, something is wrong. Risk assessment said, don't go back to Glastonbury. Don't do a half marathon. Don't do a second master's degree. I did them all. All of these goals were important to me. One of the first doctors who treated me in the Dominican Republic didn't let paperwork get in the way of his care. He shared with my family the one principle he works by, and that was always follow the patient. The idea is that we can never predict how far a person or community will go in their recovery after disaster. Why would we not let them have their own goals and taking action for themselves in their own recovery? International development organisations are starting to apply this same idea in their work to support regions after disaster. Local voice and action must be championed in international development, just as local voice and action must be championed in hospitals. In my fight to be Ben again, I've become a new Ben with different strengths, struggles, and a different story. In my fight, the final step of my recovery is to work again, to contribute, so that my lived experience can help others. Everything has a risk. We all risk being in the wrong place at the wrong time. If the worst happens to you and you survive, take risk assessments. And fight. Fight to be yourself again, so you can rebuild and discover a new you. Thank you.